Well, the courts have upheld mandates, at least on masks, and so I think as an employer, you have every right to require certain things, especially in the medical industry. If you're a private employer, as long as you apply it consistently, there's no discriminatory conduct, and you honor any medical exclusions or religious exclusions that people have for not wearing masks or not getting vaccines. But I think I think as a private employer, you can do that.
And I think that the Kentucky legislature realizes that because they're proposing a bill to not allow employers to mandate vaccines, and that bill is in front of them. So that's a ever-changing issue. I don't think that bill's going to pass.
I think the one thing that's come out of COVID is kind of a reaffirmation that private employers, you have the right to run your railroad however you want. And what I have found, and I think the way we're advising clients, is you've got to look, holistically, what works best for you. I think, some people that maybe were in the medical field felt they needed to require a vaccine and mask, whereas others who maybe were, if we own a local pub, we need employees. So I think the key is, to Barb's point, is to develop a plan and to not be discriminatory. Whatever your thing is, if your view is that, hey, your child got sent home from school, if you're going to make them quarantine, just be consistent. Don't be, oh, this person was treated differently. They were told they couldn't come to work, but this one was allowed. And then what you usually find is somewhere behind the scenes is maybe going back to one of the prior topics, maybe there's some retaliation or something involved. So I think that whatever you decide, I think the employee in a private setting have a lot of rights to do what they feel best for their company, and then just be consistent.
Absolutely.
I think it's extremely important to be proactive. As Jack mentioned, this is an ever-changing situation. I mean, since the start of COVID, I don't know how many times the orders and the guidance and things have changed. So I think it's really important for your human resources department to follow that closely so that they can be in front of any changes that need to be made. If, for example, that bill passes in the Kentucky legislature, you'll need to remove all of your, mandates and things like that. So just being proactive, staying on top of everything is important.
Well, and in the government setting, you hate to say it, what's not fair, especially in advising local government, I felt what wasn't fair was, I don't think the courts were fair to, because it was like, this regulation's going in effect, in 7 days. And, you've got a court hearing something, maybe one, the something circuit issuing an injunction, the other circuit saying it's good to go. And, I had a governmental client that's like, okay, I got this policy, it's in the chute, do we drop it or not? And you're like, there's a split in rulings, and nobody, whether it's the U.S. Supreme Court, a state court, nobody's given employers solid guidance on what they should or should not do. And it's, your 11th hour having to tell your client, yeah, you got to do it, or no, you can't. And
but the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, has said that the government can't impose vaccine mandates on employers. Well, the flip side of that is the government can't tell employers that they can't enforce those mandates.
It should be what's good for the goose is good for the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is ironic that it's, you want to say, okay, we're okay with private businesses deciding things, but then if we don't like the decision they make, then we're going to legislate to require them to act a certain way.
Exactly.
It's a double standard.
Yeah.
That's why the Chamber of Commerce and the Kentucky League of Cities opposed the bill not giving freedom to businesses and local governments.
Well, you always, if you're a private employer, as long as you're not violating, your race, gender, your typical civil rights type statutes, you run your railroad however you want. Employers
have been allowed to require masks in certain settings, in certain factory settings. They require that you wear uniforms, all kinds of things. So, they should be allowed to continue to do whatever they want.
The term free market should be all-encompassing.
Right.
But it's hard to find. Everybody's for free market unless free market leads to a policy or procedure you don't agree
They don't
with.
agree with. Yeah.